It's good to see you again. In our previous session, we added a decision node to our workflow process. Now another need has come up. Acme has hired a number of new sales reps, and they would like to have a list of just their own RFQs, instead of seeing all of them mixed together. For example, Jill would like to see a list of just the RFQs that she created, so she can easily focus on her own customers. iPhora has two features that make this easy. First, we create an additional grid that lists only the documents created by the current user. And second, we add something called a navigator, which provides a way to navigate between multiple grids or other types of app blocks. Here we are in iPhora App Builder. The Garage Door RFQ app has been unpublished, so it is ready for editing. First, we are going to create a new grid. So we drag in a grid app block, position it, and then double-click to set its properties. And now we are ready to lay out the grid. First, we select the desired form, the request for quotation form. And that causes a list of fields to appear. We then drag those fields into the workspace to become the columns. As you can see, the selected fields now represent columns in the grid. We are now going to double-click on each column to adjust its name. We'll start with the first column. And now we'll do that for the rest of the columns. There. Now that that is done, let's define the buttons that appear at the top of the grid. In this case, we need only one, the Create New Quote button. And the final part of creating this type of grid is modifying the settings to display only documents created by the current user. This setting is found under the Documents to Include section. We need to enable Show Only User-Authored Submitted Content. And now we save the grid. Notice that this grid is connected to the same form. This is because it displays documents based on that form. Now it is time to insert the navigator. However, before we can do this, we have to make room for it. There. Now we can drag in the navigator. And, as with all app blocks, we double-click to configure it. And now we just add entries, one for each grid and for the settings. And then we save it. What we have to do next is simply connect it together. And at this point, notice that our settings are still connected to the previous grid. We're going to disconnect it from that in order to connect it to the navigator. And the final step is to connect the user app block to the navigator. The user app block represents the entry point into the app. Now all we have to do is save it, publish it, and try it out. And here we are logged in as Jill Hill, our favorite sales rep. Let's open the garage door RFQ app. Notice that the navigator appears as a menu on the left side. By default, the first entry is selected, which corresponds to the new grid that we just created, the one that shows only RFQs created by the current user. As you can see, Jill has created several. For a brand new sales rep, this would be empty. Now let's click on All RFQs. The All RFQs entry shows all RFQs from all sales reps. This view is mainly for the sales manager, although sometimes a sales rep may need to access an RFQ created by someone else in order to respond when that other sales rep is out of the office. At this point, you may be wondering what happened to the settings entry in the grid. It seems to be missing. That is because the settings are only available to the app manager, and Jill is not an app manager. If John Hill were logged in, then the settings would be shown right now. And now you know everything you need to about navigators and grids. If you would like to know more about business process automation and iPhora solutions, just visit iPhora.io.